Hello. Hi everyone. Nice of you to join me today, and also hi everyone who watches this online. Welcome. My name is Eva Munnich, as you can read on this very big screen, or studiocool.cool for the webs and the socials. And today we're going to talk about being cute in all dimensions. And we're going to dig into my work, and we're going to look at some of my projects to find out how that works. So I do animation, and I do illustration and ceramics, and all of my work always comes back to or is based on these cute little characters that are, blobby and silly and have this little smiley face. And yeah, I think this is what always draws me back to them. It's just this kind of vacant face that can mean anything. And so this is what the Venn diagram of my work basically. And apart from that, doing analog things and building stuff besides working digitally has always been part of my process. And I'll show you how working digital and with real life materials like clay and ceramics has influenced each other in my work and in my journey as an artist. And so we're gonna watch my showreel first because, it's I always wonder how to do this. Like, should I show old stuff first and then everyone's scared because it's like old stuff? But we're gonna look at what I'm doing nowadays first, and then, so if you feel short, okay, we're gonna look at cool cinema stuff. And then we're gonna look at older things later. So let's see the showreel. Yeah, so that's what I do nowadays. Ah, you're so sweet, thank you. And now we're gonna rewind the time to a time where I was at art school, and this is basically an art school graduation picture. This is me, that's like 2011, so it's a long time ago. But so what I did during my studies in art school, I was in film class, but it was a very open course. Like, you could do whatever your interest was. You could work on documentations, or more experimental, or in my case, I always loved science fiction, and especially 60s, 70s science fiction. And so for my graduation film from art school, I went all out, and I built these masks, these characters. They are cats. I'm not sure if this is obvious, but they are cats. And I worked on this film, and I did like all the analog effects that I ever wanted to try. And I built the sets. Like, we had a massive set, and we had we had like literally everything put into this film. Especially because I knew that I'm never gonna be working on set again because I fucking hated it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't swear. This is recorded, sorry. Anyways, I knew that I'm not going to work on set, and I knew that I don't want to work with actors anymore. And the only role that I could see myself in was as a director, which is the only thing that I found in any way, enjoyable working on set. But it's not like you graduate art school and then you go to, Directors Incorporated, and you're like, hey, can I work as a director? It's more like that this, develops over time and you grow into this role. And so this kind of raised the question of what could I do to earn money after art school. But to show you where I was at when I finished art school, I'm going to show you a bit of the trailer for my graduation film, which is called Cats Lost in Space. And if you dig into my Vimeo profile, you're going to find the full movie there. And I mean, it needs some love, so please, if anyone wants to see it, please do so. I personally think it's great, but it is a lot. And I'm just going to show you a bit of the trailer. You know, it's like a minute or something, but you're going to get an impression of what's going on there.
Space. In a time when space travel was young, long before mankind made its giant leaps in space, three heroes are on an epic voyage to the edge of space and time. Miller, Romeo, and Paul. Cats lost in space. Long gone, of course, their little spaceship drifts uncontrolled through infinity. 48 cat years in space, a million light years from Earth. Isolated, they have become the worst enemies and the closest of friends. With food getting short, the cats get desperate and weird things occur. Witness the last days of the adventurous journey of our space pioneers. Go see Cats Lost in Space.
Yeah, so Cats Lost in Space. Sorry. Yeah, so, you know, what can you say? So this is what I graduated art school with, and then, yeah, like I said, the question was, okay, what am I going to do for a job? Luckily, during my studies, I did some animation and I did After Effects and I did some rudimentary cinema as well. And so it was kind of really easy at the time to get After Effects jobs, luckily. So I did all kinds of things. Like, as you can see here, like all the classic After Effects jobs that you could possibly be doing. And this is why I drifted more and more towards animation over the next couple of years. And as you can see, like, I did all kinds of styles and I did illustration styles, and I was trying to find something coherent in there, or like tie it up into like one like sort of voice or something, but it kind of never really clicked for me in this kind of projects or in this kind of work. And so this is where Pictoplasma comes in. I wish I could say FMX was the festival that got me inspired to switch lanes and to explore character design and 3D animation, but it was Pictoplasma, so sorry. But FMX did play a part, a different part though, because my partner, he's a VFX animator, and he got recruited here to work in London on The Lion King in 2017, which is why we moved to London, which ultimately kind of kicked off the next sort of big push for me. But so, you know, and so, yeah, so I did go to Picto in 2019 for the first time ever. And one of the speakers there said something along the lines of, oh, I went to Pictoplasma and then I decided then and there that I wanted to be part of this world. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, wait a minute, can I do that? Like, can I just do that? And I mean, this sounds silly, but this is kind of what I did. So I applied for the Pictoplasma Academy that same year in 2019. And like literally the minute I decided that I wanted to be part of this character in Pictoplasma world, I started sketching these characters. And I don't know, somehow something just clicked and something about them just got me hooked. I think it might be like for all of those, it's probably like those absurd bodies in combination with this like silly smiley face. It's like something that I really like. And so we're still in 2019, and at some point during that year, like after I did the academy, I thought those characters actually would look great in 3D, right? And so I kind of like dug out cinema, like I said before, I had learned a bit of cinema during my studies, and then I just dug it out and was like, okay, let's brush up on my knowledge and, learn more and learn how to, sorry, I'm coughing into this. Sorry. Learn more about how I could achieve, what I have in mind. And so yeah, I started doing these characters in 3D, and then others started liking them as well. And I'm kind of skipping a couple of steps, but actually not that many, to where I then got signed as a director in 2021 with Strange Beast Greenhouse in London. And so yeah, I got to do my characters in animation, in commercial jobs, in illustration, and people get excited for these little guys, and I think that's pretty amazing, to be honest. And then on the ceramic side of things, I mean, yeah, I have one of them with me if anyone wants to meet him in person later. So the ceramic side of things I've only been doing for like pretty much exactly 2 years by now. And once again, it was Pictoplasma that got me into doing that. Because, I did the academy in 2019, and then you're actually supposed to do an exhibition the year after. But because, 2020, pandemic, bleh, this didn't happen until 2022. And by the time, the exhibition came around, I had hit the age where you get interested in ceramics, which is apparently something that happens to women. I mean, I don't know. I don't mind. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just something that is in your timeline, is ceramics. And so I had to do this exhibition. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I pretty much decided on the spot that I'm going to do 50 little figurines. And that it's just going to work. I've never touched clay before. I've never done this before. But I've decided, okay, I'm going to do it. It's just going to work. And luckily, I have a really nice pottery in the area where I live in London. And they're like super nice and helpful. And they kind of, told me what clay to use and what stuff to get and how to do this. And so, yeah, we did the Pictoplasma Academy exhibition. And it went really well. Like, people were really excited about these little characters and my ceramics. And I now sell them at art markets all around London, and hopefully we'll set up an online shop fairly soon where I can then, spread them further. And I'm also working towards an exhibition, actually, of bigger pieces, which will be happening in December in East London. If anyone's around, hit me up, we can go. And so, yeah, this is the ceramic part. And now coming back to the title of this workshop, and after having had a look at my background, I hope it makes what I'm going to show you now, it makes a bit more sense. We're going to have a look at some of my cinema 4D work first, where I kind of used techniques that are influenced by, working analog or using analog methods. And I show some sort of tricks that I find really handy when working in commercial or personal projects. And then we'll have a look at my attempts to merge ceramics and 3D, which is, one is sort of like claymation, I mean literally claymation project, and the other is the cinema project where I built a ceramic texture in Redshift to sort of mimic the aesthetic of my ceramic figurines, which will then kind of tie it all together, I hope. So, okay, let's look at some cinema stuff. Those clips are pre-recorded, so and I have listed what I'm going to say about them. But if it if it overclocks or I talk too slow, I'm sorry. But it's probably going to work. Let's see. So first up, we have the sort of like stop motion technique that I kind of work with a lot in my projects, because I think, I don't know, I just like it. I feel like that's a reason enough to do it. And the way this works is that obviously you have to find like reference first, like with this drop. I found, that's like fairly easy to find online reference images of the phases of what does it look like when a drop hits the ground. And then I built this with motion, what is it called? Wait. Sorry, I have to go back. Ah, yeah, right. Of course, volume builder. Sorry, little plaque out there. Wait, why is it not playing anymore? We have to go back. Oh, there we go. Okay, building phases. Yes. Volume builder, volume measure. Nice. Building phases. Good. And then once you have all those phases built, you can put them under cloner. You just have to make sure that you put them in the right order. And you put the cloner to linear, and you would, put the count back to 1 and zero out all the axes. And from there you can then just animate the offset of the cloner, which will then shuffle through the phases of your animation. And this is really handy, I think, because the keyframes are actually on the cloner, which you then can take and make a child of whatever other animated thing you have, or whatever you want to do with it. And the keyframes are in the cloner, and therefore you don't have this like messy, animating the visibility on and off or something like that. And this works really well for all kinds of stuff, like walk cycles, or like this arm that's punching, little box there. And this little punching thing actually is part of a commercial job that I did. And as you can see, like, sorry, once again, coughing into my microphone, is it works quite well because it is a child of another object that is animated with keyframes, and the combination works actually quite well. So I do this a lot, and then we have this little guy. Sorry. He's just a personal project, but he's a good example of how I then would break something like this down and like put it all together. And as we've just seen before, we have this stop motion technique on the legs, the legs are animated this way, and we have the little drop that we've built earlier there as well. And then we have to decide what length, because it is supposed to be a loop, so the length is actually determined by the loop of the legs, in this case 24 frames. So I know, okay, everything else I want to build in there is going to have to be 24 frames as well. And then I like combining stuff like this with animation under open volume builder. You just leave it as a volume builder, and you animate these little spheres, for example, up and down. And the trunk on her face also is open volume builder with just bends on it, like 2 bends. And one of them, animating left to right to give her trunk a little swing. And you can just leave it like that. Like it can, just be an open volume builder, doesn't matter. I think that works really well. And then, by this point you might have guessed that I really love volume builder and volume measure, especially for stuff like this where, there's no rig involved and the mesh doesn't have to be super perfect, doesn't have to be clean. And, we build a little rain head here, and then we pipe it through a remesh tool, which automatically kind of tries to find loops. And, it oftentimes just works out like that the loop is coincidentally at the right spot, like it is here, where I can then just delete the geometry that I didn't want, then have the head and just model it a bit with the mesh tools to make it look a bit floppy or like a bit more organic. Okay, nice. And then for texturing, I also like to keep it sort of chill. I really like the standard Redshift plastic material because it kind of fits my aesthetic of just being like little toys, or being like little guys in like an artificial world. And before I tried mimicking ceramics in Redshift, I didn't really dig too much into the nodes and everything. But one thing that I do like using is a little hack if you want to combine 2 materials. And that's vertex maps, sorry. So you put on your vertex map tag, and you use fields, in this case spherical fields, for on her head. You know, as you remember, the head is an open volume builder, so it's not a clean mesh or anything. And we can just like put these fields where we want her cheeks to be, because I want her to have like red cheeks, but her being pink. So we just put like the fields, and then in our material, we have just the two materials. We have like a darker pink for the cheeks, and we have a light pink for, you know, the base of her, and we have the vertex attribute node that we then just pull in our little vertex map tag after naming it something helpful. I don't know, probably went with cheeks. Yeah, I did. And you pull the vertex map tag in there, and then yeah, just have to wait for my recorded self to do it. And then we have the combined material, and then we have a look, and there it is, boom, red cheeks. And so you can, you know, play around with the placement of these fields and make them however you like. And this works actually really well because the fields have this like really soft, you know, what's it called, gradient around them. So the materials would mix very softly, which is what we want for these cheeks. Like, it wouldn't work if you wanted like a really harsh border between two materials or two colors, because once again the mesh is not clean or in any way set up for this. But it works well for this purpose. And since the vertex fields are then children of her head, and we have her little up and down motion, as we remember. Well, anyways, she, you know, her head moves up and down. The fields are children of her head, and so they move with her. And then, you know, like, this works fine, but you might run into occasions where you have a mesh that's actually to be transformed, and you can still use this like very, you know, handy, easy little material mixing method. You just have to add one step. And so here we have the little orca guy, and he's inside an FFD cage. The FFD cage is animated to do this, you know, swimming motion. And we have his fields, which make the color mixture. And, you know, you see, like, if we move through the animation, the colors or the fields are not on the mesh. Like, they are children of it, but they're just not on there. And so what you have to do is just bake the little whale guy as an limbic, and now he has this color information on his mesh, and you can then pull him back under the FFD, and boom, it's on there. Nice. Once again, why am I doing this? Because this orca guy as well is built with volume mesher and volume builder, and not a clean mesh at all. And so yeah, this works quite nicely. What have we next? Ah yeah, we're going back to the little elephant guy. And it's just to show that, you know, the scenes that I would normally build, they are not very complicated. So when it comes to comping them in After Effects, it's not like I need like all the like whatever passes of the reflection and the whatnot, because they're literally not there. This is why I like using just a puzzle mat for that. And the puzzle mat is driven by the object ID tag, which you have to put on your objects or on your, you know, the parts that you want to separate. And then you would, in your AOV manager, choose the puzzle mat, and then make sure that you choose object ID, and you set the same numbers, like it's 1, 2, 3, because they correspond then with like blue, green, and red channel in the image that we're exporting. And then just make sure that you tick on everything and tick on alpha as well. And then what this gives us is a second PNG sequence. Like, we have our beauty render, and we have the second PNG sequence, which is just, like I said, pure red, green, and blue channels. And then we go over to After Effects, where we import both our PNG sequences. Yes, very good, importing. Yeah, make sure you match the frame rate, always important step when comping in After Effects. And then we just pull both of them into our comp and make sure that the puzzle mat path is under our beauty, and then we do a set mat effect on top of our beauty render. And we choose our puzzle mat as the mask, and we copy it as many times as we have elements, basically, and change the color in our puzzle mat, so, you know, the blue, red, and green. And turn the mat off. Sorry, naming stuff, also important. Yes, very, very well done, past Eva. Very diligently naming things. And you turn off your puzzle mat, and then you have, you know, your little character on an alpha channel, and then you can access the separate, the separate elements that you have separated with your mat, that you can then color correct and export it as a GIF on alpha if you like. So this is basically, this would be like the workflow for one of my 3D projects. You know, just keep it, I don't know, I'd say quick. People are leaving, fair enough. And so now we come to the part where I try to kind of, you know, combine ceramics and 3D. And, you know, I had a happy chill life just making fun little characters until one day I was like, oh, wouldn't this be like really cool if I could merge these things? I mean, I still think it would, but let's see how this went. So one thing I noticed is that I build my characters in 3D and in ceramics with base shapes, you know, like spheres and capsules. And regarding ceramics, that's actually a bit mad because you have clay and you could make anything with it. Like, it's moldable, like you could make it into anything. But for some reason, I choose to make them with basic shapes. And I can't really explain why, but I think it's just something that makes my brain really happy, and so that's what it is. But my thinking was, okay, since they are so similar in digital and in clay, it should be easy to transfer, you know, animation and looks between the two, right? And so obviously, like, you know, being an animator, I'm pretty sure everyone has seen this. It's the walk cycle. I was like, oh yeah, cool. First idea came in my mind. Then, oh, let's make a walk cycle animation, but in ceramics. So, whoa, amazing idea. I just built out all these phases, and it will be a walk cycle, and it will look amazing, and boom, have like the coolest looking ceramic figurines and social media fame, and you know, all the things. But and then I gave it a bit more thought. I noticed like, okay, for poses like the pass or the up or anywhere where there's just one foot on the ground, this wouldn't work with a ceramic figurine unless they had like massive legs, or you would put like a little platform under it, you know, so like these like little plastic soldiers, you know, so that they can hold their balance. And that's not really good options for me, both of those, because it's not what I'm kind of envisioning. So ideally you would have a figurine that can balance on its own and have like points on, or like feet on the ground, at least 2 at any given moment. And then luckily I remembered this guy. I was like, oh, yeah, right, this guy. He has like 6 legs, doesn't he? So it should be possible to have 4 on the ground at any given moment in his walk cycle, right? Amazing! And so next step was to work out the walk cycle, which I did in Cinema. And in my mind, it would have been as easy as, you know, just building the walk cycle and then just copying it 2 times and then just offset it somehow, and then it would just look good. But it took a bit more fiddling than that, because mainly because 6 legs have to fit under this body in the first place. Also, you don't want the legs to overlap too much in like the extreme poses. And you want the offset to look kind of deliberate, right? You don't want it to feel like random, or like this character isn't really like a living being at all. And so luckily I found reference of someone, I can't show it, but it's pretty great. Someone managed to film a grasshopper from the top while the grasshopper was just walking, which is like kind of, I'm not sure how they did that, but anyways, this exists. And this then gave me the insight in, okay, how 6-legged creatures actually manage to walk. And it seems like the first, I mean, obviously you take like the front legs would you be a base cycle. And then the second pair of legs is offset by 2 frames. And then the last pair of legs is offset by 1 whole cycle. And this way it kind of looked natural, if you can say it, in regards of this character. But it looked at least kind of matching. As you can see here, this is the finished cycle. And I think it looks kind of, it looks kind of cute. It's a cute little guy, does his walk. Nothing is overlapping too hard. Obviously, I had to adjust it a little bit, but yeah. So this gave me these phases, and so it's 8 walk cycle phases, and I printed them out, as you can see on the right, so that I had them as blueprints for building my ceramic figurines. And now we're going to see a bit like of a sped up video of this process. Yeah, I mean, I put these, like, you see all the sausages down there in the corner of this. That's like totally like not intended for them to be there. It's like that's just my workshop. Yeah. Anyways, so this is just a little speed run. So yeah, the way I build my things, I always build them hollow, like all of my figurines, with a technique that's called pinching. Like, that's literally what you do. You pinch the clay, and then you join the 2 halves circles into one sphere, which looks more like a dinosaur egg at the start, and then you just pat it down with whatever you have at hand to make it less dinosaur eggy. And then the legs are built hollow as well with slabs. Slabs are these, like, rolled out clay pieces, and you would then just join, like, for some reason, of course, I chose a character with 6 legs, so I had to make 48 legs, I think. It's like good stuff. And then, you have your characters, and you can pose them, like, with these handy printouts to match the phases. And those are my 8 little guys. And we're gonna watch the cycle like as it is at the moment. It's this. And I mean, this is very, very much still work in process, because I'm not sure what I expected, but I mean, it is just rough claymation. I'm not sure what I thought this would be. But and I think, I mean, to be fair, I feel like the back legs, they work pretty well already. And all the others, they need a bit more love, and I need to make the cycle a bit cleaner on those. And but I think this is going to be actually quite cool, like, especially if you imagine it with a nice glaze on it, or with his face and all of that. I'm actually quite happy that I managed to get a bit of up and down in there as well. And yeah, but also giving me massive backflash to art school, like, the whole handling cameras and lights and all of that. I was, oh my god. Yeah, okay, anyway, so this is where this is at the moment. And then coming back to my endeavor to merge 3D and ceramics, I tried it the other way around, which is attempting to imitate this very specific look that my ceramics have, but in 3D with a texture. And as you might have noticed in your own artistic endeavors, if you want to get specific, it gets tricky very, very quickly. But let's have a look at what happened there. So first I kind of had to analyze, okay, what is actually happening in these figurines? And I mean, a lot, but the first thing that I noticed is that actually there's 2 textures. If you want to break it down into things that you can transfer into Redshift or into a texture, the first thing notable is that there are actually 2. Like, you have this very shiny coat on top of this really rough and porous base. And this happens because of the way ceramics are made. So, on the left we have like the state, which is after bisque firing, which is the first firing, and then you have this really pastel porous surface, because the underglaze that you paint on would dry into this like powdery sort of like coat on top of them. And then you glaze them, as you can see in the middle there, just dunk them into some glaze. And after glaze firing on the right, all the colors, they really pop and they have this really shiny, nice surface. Except, of course, for the parts that you didn't dunk into glaze, which are often on the base or the feet, because obviously it would fire onto the kiln shelf if you would glaze this part. This is why it is left, it's not raw, but it's left unglazed. And then we have a close-up here looking at, like really looking at what's happening. And as you can see, like we have this really porous surface, and the coat, the shiny coat on top, and the border between those two is actually quite sharp, or maybe like the tiniest, there's maybe like the tiniest transition between them. Also depending on how you obviously how you dip it into. And then what we also have is the super reflecting coat, and the reflection is broken up because the surface is so uneven and the object is very uneven. And even the cloth coat itself is uneven. So broken up reflections, okay, note. And then we have this crackle in the surface, which is very specific to the way they come out for me. It always depends on what kiln you put your glaze in and whatever, but they always come out with this crackle. And as you can see, it kind of has like, it looks like it just is in the coat, because it is just in the coat. So it's white on top and throws like a shadow underneath onto the surface underneath. And then we also have dust on our little guys. As you can see, like there's just tiny grains of dust on there. And then, so this is the slide to remind me to switch over to cinema. But I then attempted to build this as a redshift texture, and we have little picture here of the node tree that we're gonna have a look into now. It's this material. Let's have a look. I'll zoom in there. Okay, you can see it's like tons of things. And as you remember that. Oh, sorry, you can see it at all. Good thing that you told me. Okay, fair enough. Now you can see it. Okay, now I have to kind of scoot over here as well, though. Okay, so this is the, our little guy, and this is his material and the node tree in there, and it's basically as. Let me see if I can do this side by side. Maybe make this a bit smaller. And then have the render view open as well. Come on. Okay, little guy. So if we go through this and solo some parts of it, we have the rough material which also holds the face. This is here, like the face comes in and goes through all these layers, goes into the rough material. If we solo this, you can see it's just this like pastel, porous clay material that we have here. And we have all the displacement coming from like a mixture of different noises going into the displacement of this rough material. Soloing this doesn't actually do anything. Soloing this. Noises, nice. Anyway, so we have all this displacement, and then we have the glaze material, which is the shiny coat on top. So if I solo it, it actually just only takes away the feed, but that's fine. And those two go into a material blender, And we have the glaze material, the shiny material, being driven by, or like being controlled by this this mask, so that it masks out the feet, like it would on an actual ceramic figurine. So we got this to work, great stuff, and we have the crackle coming in as well. The crackle coming into the shiny material down here into, it's like, wait, where does the crackle go? Let me see. Okay, this is the crackle. There you go. And we pipe this into the coat bump. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Cool, cool, it makes sense. So this is where our crackle is held. And this is also where we put in some, smudges into the reflections and also noises to break up the reflection. They also go in here. And then, the face. Scooting over to where the face is coming from. The face is, it's just a Photoshop texture that I've drawn, but it goes into a camera map node, which then, is mapped onto our little guy, if we close this for a second, with an actual camera. And this is because we tried to do it with a texture node, but you would then have to change the UV tag of the whole object to be flat, a flat projection, to have the face and to be able to, scoot the face around where you want it. And that's no good, because then you can't use like smudges or any other textures. And so we decided, okay, it would be good to have this camera. And look at this. I mean, it works great from this perspective. But wait, where's the funny cam? Is it this one? Oh no, I think that's just a close-up of. Okay, no, that's just a close-up. Okay, I wanted to show you a funny thing where we can still do it. Just have to leave the camera. Okay, come on, laptop, you can do it. You can do it. I just want to show you a funny thing. Come on. So heavy. Oh no. Okay, sorry. But here we are. So this is the back of our character. And oh no, there's a giant face on his bum. Which we only noticed after, looking through like the render camera that we had set up like for ages. And suddenly we were like, why is there a giant face? And this is one of the things we're just gonna have to figure out. Like before this talk, I could not figure out why is there, I don't know. But it has something to do with the camera projection. And we have a render view which looks fine. So we're just running with that. It's fine. Nobody knows. You know now, but nobody knows. And then we have the dust on top of all of this, as you can see, like these tiny, tiny specks of dust. And those are actually like literal geometry being cloned onto the surface of a little guy. And that's because I think you could try to put in the dust as well through the material bump and all that, but it kind of, as we remember the slide we've seen of the close-up of my ceramic characters, the actual characters, it looks like it just really is sprinkled just on top. And we can just like maybe make it really big so you can see it better. It's actually kind of fun if it does it. In this render view, it's not really noticeable until we like crank it up in size quite a bit. Oh yeah, there you go. That's gonna be, it's probably a bad idea. You know. Yeah, so just exploding the dust. It actually looks quite cool, to be honest, but I mean, it's obviously not what we want, but so yeah, just really, really small little dust particles on top there. I mean, yeah, obviously in the preview, you know, like the crackle and the dust and all of these details, they're just in this preview not really noticeable. And this is why we're just gonna go back to our PowerPoint. Can we just do that like here, or do I have to close anything? Also, okay. Oops, sorry. La 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 la. I'm not sure where we are time-wise, but I feel like we're okay, right? Who knows? But anyways, okay. And so and this then is you know, this is the rendered guy, and like I said, like the dust and the crackle, they're really subtle, and but they are there, and I feel like they give him this really like ceramic-y feel. And if we look at, you know, the close-up of the points that we've noted before, like this border between the porous material and the glazed one, this works really well here. Like it has this like sharp but kind of like maybe tiny bit of transition there, and we have the crackle that goes over his face as well. And as you can see, it is like light on the top and dark underneath. And we have the little face and the blue sort of like coming together as they would on a ceramic. And I mean, you know, this works great. As long as you have like one object that you want to texture this way, because you know, as you've seen, we have like the cloner, and you need to copy your object to then, you know, have the cloner look at this one for the dust. So you have basically two objects and all the cloners and all of their geo. And so, you know, as soon as you have more than one object, it gets a bit messy. But I mean, that's just the sort of like state of this development where I'm at now. And I feel like, you know, this kind of like feels like something espresso connecting things, which for now, like, is just the edge of what I know. So, you know. But as I said before, if you want to do something very specific, it gets very tricky very quickly, and it also is hard to find a specific tutorial that would tell you how to do this. So it's maybe you're just on your own. You just have to explore, and you just have to try to find a good solution. But so yeah, we just basically copied all of the structure onto eight individual objects. And this is our final little ceramic guy, politely going places. And I don't know, I love it. And I think even though, you know, there's still stuff to figure out, like why does he have a giant face on his bum, and how can we make the workflow somehow a bit more applicable to animation, or to, you know, to make it a bit more smoother. I think this is like a super interesting direction to explore in for my illustration and animation work. And this is him. And this basically is what I wanted to talk to you about. And I hope you had a good time, and maybe you feel like a bit inspired to try some new things, you know, either in 3D or do some ceramics or draw some characters or make an epic sci-fi short film in your garage if you want. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And these are my, you can find me under studiocool.cool, like, you know, on Instagram and in the internet. And please scan the code for a chance to win a Maxon 1 license. And for any questions regarding Maxon, you can speak to the Maxon team present here after the talk. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. And thank you so much. And goodbye. Yeah, if anyone has any questions. Hmm? Oh, I can't see anything. Just shout. Sorry? Say again? I do indeed, yes. I just like it. There's no reason. I just like it. Yeah. Yeah, I can like really not see you very well. So just I don't know, shout or. Yeah. Oh, this is a very good question. Um, I mean, we can just go back and have a look, I guess. I don't know by heart, honestly. Do you mean like for the do you mean for the displacement, for example? Okay, let's see. For the displacement, we have. I think we might just have a normal noise. Where can you see what it is? This is the noise. Oh yeah, it's just, so one is just a noise. And the second one is a poxo. And the third one is a nutrus. I mean, but honestly, it's not like I'm, oh yeah, the poxo and the nutrus, they're gonna make, you know, whatever I like. I mean, this is very much just clicking around and trying, you know, fiddling around and trying to see what works together. The only one that is a very conscious decision is obviously the Voronoi texture that makes the crackle, because this is just what crackle looks like. It just looks like Voronoi. We can look at it on our guy. And I think this is the only one that's really obvious, you know, because it's like based on the natural occurring texture. I hope this answered your question. Okay, cool. I mean, yeah, if no one else has any questions, I don't know, yeah? Oh yeah, I don't UV unwrap, sorry. This is like probably a bit blasphemous, but yeah, no, that works fine with. I mean, I do put it through a remesh tool, you know, and this like gives clean enough geometry for it to work. Like I said, you know, it's not like why would I need, you know, the loops to be in the right place? It doesn't matter. But the remesh actually gives clean enough geometry for that. Yeah. I should probably unsolo things. Okay. I mean, yeah, if nobody has any more questions, we can all go. I don't know. Thank you.